You may be thinking that in order to get to your goals, you need to have more willpower, but you don't. The problem isn't discipline, it's trying to carry growth, decisions, and momentum all alone. So if you're feeling that, you're going to want to listen to this episode. And today I'm talking about you don't need more willpower, you need more support. You need more support. And I don't mean like people at home putting their dishes in the dishwasher. I mean for you in your life, for you in your business, career, whatever it may be. Imagine just for a moment, close your eyes if you can. Just think, how different would the year be if you felt this way? You didn't have to self-motivate all the time. You had a place and people to talk things through with. You could easily reset every single month instead of starting over. You see, reaching your goals, having a great life, having the success and satisfaction you want, it isn't about pushing harder. Though many times we just think, let's just do more, let's be more, let's have more in our calendar. That's not the case. Sometimes it's just about being supported consistently. There have been many times in my life where I felt like I couldn't quite get where I needed to be, right? I was capable, I was committed, but things felt heavier, heavier than they needed to be. I can remember a time when I was launching these programs and I knew they were great and other people knew they were great, but I just wasn't getting the result that I needed and I couldn't understand it. And I just, like, if I was just to use willpower, which oftentimes I resort to, maybe you do as well, it had me pushing harder, pushing through the troubles. It had me handling decisions alone. It really ended up being quiet burnout, which was starting to take me out. And the realization I had was I didn't need more discipline. I didn't need to do more. I just needed support. And that's when I knew that I had to tap back into my mastermind, back into friends that I have who are also running businesses, and be able to have them to bounce ideas off of, to have them cheer me on. And the cool thing was knowing that willpower isn't the solution, but having people around me is was so much more fun, right? But high achieving women, maybe you can relate to this. We're taught just try harder, be stronger. You should be able to figure it out yourself. And we do, right? We totally do. But at what cost? Late nights, trying to get over the doubt, or even when you are doing well and it's just feeling hard, it's because the truth is that willpower, it's finite. There's only a certain amount that we can have. And even if we're at a very high level, it doesn't always recharge. It doesn't always show up again. We almost like burn through it. And and then what are we going to do? So if we look at support instead, so support is sustaining. Support is invigorating, motivating, confirming. So if you're growing that with willpower only, your growth will stall. And it's not laziness, it's isolation. So here's what support actually does. And this is support there's two different ways of support. Support where you're just receiving the support, you don't have to give it back. And then support in an equal environment where you can give and receive support. So here's what support gives you: perspective. Perspective when you're just too close. I love this Les Brown quote. When you're in the frame, you can't see the picture, right? Because you're in it and you can't see it. I can remember this one time I was trying to figure out what my like one thing was, and I kept saying to myself, and what is it? What is it? I was trying all these different things, and eventually I brought this to a little coaching triad I had. So two coaches and me, three people. And I said to them, I just don't know. Like, I'm trying to figure out what my thing is. And I'm like looking all around for it and trying to figure it out. And they said, Diane, isn't it that? Which basically was right in front of my face, but I couldn't see it because I was just too close to it. The second thing support gives you is language for what you're feeling. A lot of times coaches have been able to reframe things for me to say, oh, it sounds like you are running on low. It sounds like you're frustrated by this. It sounds like you maybe self-abandoned in that situation. Now you're feeling guilt or shame or frustration and disappointment. And I was like, yes, yes. And sometimes I knew that was the thing. And sometimes, and just having them confirm that, witness me was enough. And sometimes they actually had to give me the feeling where I went, oh, that's it. That's it. And by knowing what I was feeling, I then was able to figure out what I needed to do to get past it. And the third thing that support gives you is permission to pause and recalibrate. When you have someone with you, they provide that space, the space so that you can say, ah, yeah, I didn't think of it that way. Or, yeah, these are some possibilities. Because if we don't have that permission to pause, we just keep going. We keep trying to push and go, 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 go. And it's kind of like you're on a train and you never get off enough to be able to check that you're actually going in the right direction or to get on the correct train into the direction you need to go, which is that recalibration piece. You need to have that space to pause, think, brainstorm, double check, tune in, and then to recalibrate. So to make a change, to just do 1 degree to the other side, to step back in and recommit. Momentum, and momentum for you at any point, but like if we look at just this year, momentum doesn't come from pressure. So if you are having support, it's not pressured support, though it is kind of funny when I hear coaches or I hear my clients when I'm coaching, I hear them say, "Oh yeah, I did that like right before the call, or I did that last night." Okay, so a little bit of accountability was helpful in that case, but not pressure where you're not even allowed to have the session or you're going to be guilted. That's not what we're looking for either. But momentum comes from that ability to reflect and then to reinforce that decision that you have made to move forward, whatever that goal is. And I know a lot of times for myself, when I'm showing up in a group, I make sure my stuff is done because I want to be as committed as everyone else in the group. And so being in a space where there is commitment to everyone's goals, whether they be big or small, it doesn't matter. And whether they be life or business focused, it doesn't matter. But having that right support with the right accountability, boy, does that move you forward. I know a lot of times I wouldn't be where I was if I was only relying on my own accountability. Isn't that weird how we're okay to like drop things for ourselves, but we won't for others. We're like we stay committed to other people's things over our own. Anyway, and this topic came up because I did some exit interviews or wrap up calls with people in the breakthrough from 2025. And the clients said about the monthly calls with the group, it's something new I had added in. And they said, wow, I didn't realize how much I needed them. The monthly calls kept me grounded. Just hearing others help me move forward, right? It's that I know I'm not in this alone, or when they hear someone else be coached by me, then that gives them the kind of learning that they needed as well. And the key thing was they weren't behind. They just needed a place to land and reset. And that's what's possible. We used to do it once a year, like just the once a year, let's set up our blueprint and now let's go. And then we'll meet at the start of next year. But when I started adding in the quarterly calls, the results started going up. And then I realized quarterly is not enough because that's only 4 times a year they're getting that check-in point. They needed it more. Just like if you were going to practice the piano, you need to do it more than just 4 times a year, right? You need to do it continuously to get better. And so the ability for them to tap into the group, to get that support, to get the coaching, and to be accountable at least once a month has moved them far beyond the goals that they had set for themselves. So, a reminder, the breakthrough, the doors are open right now. And one of the biggest things that the women talked about was these monthly calls and how they changed everything. So in 2026, if you don't have a place that you can get that reset, that accountability, that reflection, to be able to see what's in the frame, to see what the picture looks like, then I invite you to join because it's not that the women needed more information, but that they reached their goals. It's because they finally had that support, the support that had been lacking the previous years. So Breakthrough 2026, while does have a kickoff program to it, it is a year-long coaching experience designed so that you don't have to rely on willpower, right? So each month there's that call where you get to reflect, recalibrate, stay connected to what matters most, even when life gets busy, because that's the thing, life will get busy and your accountability will maybe slip or your commitment will slip. But you have that check-in point to re-energize, to be re-motivated to continue on. So if you're capable, but you're just tired of carrying it all yourself, then this is probably the support that you've been missing. You can learn more at the breakthrough 2026.dynamicwomen.biz. That's the breakthrough, and that will be in the show notes as well, so you can check it out. So ask yourself now, have you been using willpower instead of support? And if so, where? So where are you using willpower instead of support? Is it in your goals for your health? Is it in your business? And what would feel lighter if you didn't do it alone? I know for me, it's funny, like I for my health, for my fitness, I've always played sports. And I laugh because I know that I've said numerous times, I will run because the coach tells me. I will do the drills because I'm at the practice. So you can think of it that way, right? So let those two questions sit. Where are you using willpower instead of support? And what would feel lighter if you didn't do it alone? So as I close, I just want you to know that I know there's a lot of hype right now around New Year, but you don't have to become someone else, right? And you don't need to buy into the hustle culture. You don't need more grit. That's not what the world's about right now. The world is kind of having an awakening to what's going wrong. Instead, you need support that helps you stay aligned. It's not weakness, it's a very wise decision. So, this year can feel lighter. This year, you can reach all of your goals and you don't have to do it solo. Join the breakthrough. Doors are closing, so you're going to want to get in now. I thank you for listening. As always, I'm curious though, what was it about this episode or other episodes that have helped you, intrigued you? What have been some takeaways? I'm always open to hearing it. You can email me, diane@dianerolston.com. And if you haven't yet, hit subscribe, share with a friend, and until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.